great to be here today. It's great to see Daniel bless the sacrament and Caleb pass the sacrament. It's great, frankly, to be here on time. Some of you might have noticed that we do have a bit of a hard time getting here by 10 o'clock. There's so much to do, as you all know, when you have kids, to get out the door. And one of the things that our kids sometimes say they have to do before they leave is update their Facebook status, which doesn't make much sense to me. I'm going to church, but I guess that's what you do when you're young nowadays. For example, Daniel wrote recently on his Facebook status, tried to visit Ohio by emailing myself as an attachment, but ended up in someone's spam folder. Other Facebook updates, status updates that I've seen is, I used to play sports, then I realized you can buy trophies, now I'm good at everything. I dream of a better world where chickens can cross the road without having their motives questioned. You might want to think about that for a second. Just realized the Tooth Fairy teaches us to sell our body parts for money. My computer just beat me at chess, but it was no match for me in kickboxing. I'm proud of myself. I just finished a jigsaw puzzle in 6 months, and the box said 2 to 4 years. I would rather check my Facebook than face my checkbook. We love being in Michigan during this time of year. Particularly, it's been so beautiful. It's the fall, the trees are golden red. Sometimes, particularly when you get outside of Battle Creek, you feel like you're driving through a beautiful watercolored painting. I arrived on my mission in Germany about the same time of year, but at that time I didn't get to enjoy the fall leaves. My first companion was a very, very hard worker. He made sure we were not out the door a minute too late, that we came not in a second too early, and that we always worked very hard. We set firm goals, but we actually saw very little success in terms of finding people who really wanted to hear the gospel. For example, one day we visited a member family, and we didn't really have a concrete goal in mind of what we would do. We were just out working really hard. So we decided to show them a film strip of Man's Search for Happiness. And everyone there had probably seen this film strip in one form or another several times. And I was really early in my mission, so I didn't really understand it. I just, saw the film strip with, the wicked clown and the spinning carousels and all that. And I didn't understand the language, I just understood the beeps. And so I was sitting there turning with the beeps, and then the member family fell asleep, and then my companion fell asleep. So then I'm just sitting there kind of by myself listening to rock, 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 beep. And I turn, rock, 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 beep. Anyway, in his talk on consecration in the last General Conference, Elder Christofferson actually quoted from that film, Man's Search for Happiness. And he quoted from the script, which was written by Elder Richard L. Evans. Life offers you two precious gifts. One is time, the other is freedom of choice. The freedom to buy with your time what you will. You are free to exchange your allotment of time for thrills. You may trade it for base desires. You may invest it in greed. Yours is the freedom to choose. But these are no bargains, for in them you find no lasting satisfaction. Every hour, every minute of your span of mortal years must sometime be accounted for. And it is in this life that you walk by faith and prove yourself able to choose good over evil, right over wrong, enduring happiness over mere amusement, and your eternal reward will be according to your choosing. A prophet of God has said, men are that they might have joy, a joy which includes a fullness of life, a life dedicated to service, to love and harmony in the home, the fruits of honest toil, an acceptance of the gospel of Jesus Christ and its requirements and commandments. Only then will you find true happiness, the happiness which doesn't fade with the lights, the music, and the crowds. I didn't realize at the time, when I was seeing this film strip, mostly because I didn't understand the language, that the answer as to why my companion and I were working so hard but seeing so few results was right in that statement. We all have two gifts, the gift of time and the ability to choose how to use that time. We all usually want to feel like we use our time well. Generally, none of us are like one of our kids, won't mention any names, but he's our oldest, who was at our dinner table several months ago, and he said very seriously, "Is someone going to make me toast, or am I going to starve?" Not thinking there may be another option there somewhere. As we know, Satan is a great counterfeiter. It is much easier for him to misdirect our best impulses than to teach us to knowingly do something bad. For example, very few of us want to feel like we are lazy or bad people, so we craft ways of making ourselves feel as though we are doing what we are supposed to do, when in reality we are avoiding the tough investments we need to make in order to become consecrated disciples of Christ. When I was in that first city on my mission, my companion and I were willing to work hard, but we were not at that point willing to consecrate ourselves to do whatever it took to bring people to Christ. We would set goals we could achieve, like track for 50 hours, but that would only require so much. Our goal was not to bring people to Christ, which would have required a much greater investment of ourselves into the work. But it was literally to spend a certain number of hours out knocking on doors. So we accomplished our goals, and we accomplished nothing at the same time. You can find examples of this all around you. Making meaningful connections with other people is a basic need that everyone has. I mentioned Facebook earlier. At my work, we had some Facebook executives come and do a presentation because they wanted us to advertise on Facebook. We learned that if Facebook were a country, it would be the third most populous in the world behind China and India. There are 500 million users of Facebook. Each one of these spends an hour every day on the site. So if you as one person had to work to cover all the time spent on Facebook in one day, you would have to work for 57,000 years. Of course, Facebook has merits. I'm not saying it doesn't. I have an account. Most of the people I know have an account. And how else would you let 200 of the friends you've known throughout your life know that you just had a great frozen pizza? There really is the best way to do that. The Facebook segment with the highest growth right now is grandmothers. But those of us who are on Facebook should ask ourselves if we are genuinely building meaningful relationships and investing ourselves in other people in that hour per day, or if we are just telling ourselves we're investing in relationships when we are, in fact, avoiding them. You could argue that much of our leisure time, not just speaking on Facebook, is spent in making ourselves feel good about doing really nothing. The premise of reality television is that ordinary people, like us, end up doing extraordinary things, and we feel extraordinary watching it. That's the case for The Apprentice, American Idol, Bachelor, Jersey Shore, take your pick. In reality, though, we are all doing absolutely the most ordinary act of sitting down and watching television. But we tell ourselves we're doing something fantastic. Video games operate much the same way. As my family will tell you, but please don't ask them, I was showing our kids how to play a game on the Xbox, and I kind of started playing it myself quite a bit. And I started fighting the kids for time on the Xbox. And I felt like I was doing something really exciting. I was moving this character's life forward, earning new skills, got a new hat. You know, you get all sorts of things in these games that make you feel like you're making progress. And Tracy would ask me to maybe stop playing the Xbox and help, and I would say, look, do you want me to do the dishes or save the world from an alien invasion? Your choice. She said, be quiet and get in the kitchen. The same thing goes for sports. Of course, most of us like sports. I play fantasy football. I've liked football, watching football for much of my life. And when I was in graduate school, I was invited by some undergraduates to come play intramural football. And I thought, I know a lot about football. The hours I've spent watching, I could play this. And so I went out and really excited, set to block on the kickoff, and this huge undergraduate just knocked me clean off my feet just on the first block. I was just laying there in the mud with, my breath knocked out of me just from one hit. And I thought, I may watch football, but I don't really know football. I've just sort of kidded myself that I am an expert in this field and that I've been making so much progress with the hours I spend watching football. This could be a metaphor for our entire lives. We spend our time distracting ourselves from true consecration, true discipleship, and never end up living as God intends. Henry David Thoreau wrote about this problem when he said about time wasters, as if you could kill time without injuring eternity.